Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to live enhanced stream coverage of the Battle of the Bridge. The Kent Spitfires taking on the Essex Eagles in the 2026 Vitality Blast. Kent 2 from 2, the Eagles none from 2. It looks like advantage the Spitfires. And welcome along to Ivan Thomas, the man alongside me. My name's Dave Fulton. Ivan Thomas, the big fast bowler. We'll talk about Ivan's story in the not too distant. He's had a bit of a time of it, horrific car crash, but he is here, he is present, and Ivan looking forward to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the form the boys are in, no better Friday afternoon to be down here.
Absolutely, and as we can see as we take a look round the ground, it's an absolute picture out there. Plenty of cloud cover, which is probably a good thing because it's really sticky. Just hope that that cloud doesn't bubble up too much. Just one or two forecasts I've looked at, so we might get a spot of rain. Hopefully that's not the case, and if we do, I don't think it will be here for too long. It's got a muggy feel, ball might swing, and this is the first home Friday night of the 2026 Blast campaign, and we're expecting a really good crowd already. Thousands of people in. And buoyed, no doubt, by a couple of good wins, Ivan. This looks like a really good side this year. We'll tell you about the toss details in just a second. But Kent, they look strong, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, they're flowing with a little bit of momentum from the last two games as well. And especially they'll probably be quite positive knowing Essex are coming off 2 losses as well. But the boys seem to be hitting it well. And I feel like the bowling has gone really well.
Well, the news from the toss is that the Eagles won it. They've opted to bowl first. Remember, they're none from 2. Their lineup is Paul Walter, the big tall southpaw. Michael Pepper gives it a whack. Charlie Allison, Luke Beckenstein, Vian Mulder are one of the overseas players. Matt Critchley, Noah Thane, Simon Harmer, the captain, who's also overseas. Shane Snater, Zuman Akhtar and Charlie Bennett. As for the Spitfires, they've got this really strong top order. And the Tawanda Mieye, Daniel Bell-Drummond opening partnership was really promising last year, and it's shown some good signs this year. Zach Crawley with a fantastic 70 unbeaten in the last game to get Kent over the line by 7 wickets. He's at 3. Sam Billings, the captain, at 4. Brilliant 87 unbeaten at Lords in game 1. Joe Denley, who's yet to fire but hasn't had much opportunity. Dean Forrester, the South African batting all-rounder. He took 3 for with the ball and then finished 40 not out with the bat. He looks a real fine. Jake Lintop, left arm wrist spin, bit of mystery. Tom Rogers, the Australian. Matt Milnes, Fred Klassen and Matt Parkinson, who's been preferred to Bertie Foreman, who played against his former charges Sussex on Monday. But it is Parky, so we've got double wrist spin. Matt Parkinson, regulation wrist spin, and then you've got Jake Lintop with his left arm wrist spin. You don't see that every day.
No, not at all. But I think, you know, looking at the pitch that they played on Monday, it just looked like it was a little true. And Joe bowled a really good over. He didn't actually get back on. But it does look like that kind of pitch that might be pretty tricky to actually hit that.
Well, that is the Guard of Honour. Broadstairs Cricket Club waiting for Kent's opening batsman, Tawanda Mieye, on the left there, just putting his helmet on alongside the club captain, Daniel Bell-Drummond. Hugely experienced. The man, Ivan, you would have played a lot of your cricket with. You'd know him well. Good friend of yours, good friend of Kent cricket. Testimonial year this year. Been a tough little road for him as club captain. Kent haven't set the world on fire in the championship, but they just started to show some good signs, didn't they? And they've kind of carried that momentum through. You mentioned the word momentum at the top of the show. Just how important is it?
It can be one of those things that changes a season. A little bit of momentum. It brings positivity and belief into the side, and I think that is what's happened. There was a little bit of trickiness with the batting in the first start of the championship. As the boys started to get confidence, I think it's really turned. And this white ball campaign, especially for people like Zach Crawley, I think is going to open up the season for them. Yeah,
Zach Crawley's an interesting one, isn't he? I wouldn't envy Adam Hollyoake, Simon Cook and the Kent selectors when it comes to naming that top order in the championship side, because Zach Crawley's the man who's out of form, but he's an international player. And then when Ben Compton comes back to full fitness, he had a dislocated finger, but rumour has it he's making really good progress to be back. You've got Ben Dawkins, who kind of came in to substitute. He got a massive 180 in the championship. You've got Sam Northeast coming off 100. Daniel Bell-Drummond's got a big 100. Tawanda Mieye is arguably the best of the lot. So you're going to kind of have to get 6 batters into 5 spots, and they're all big guns, apart from the youngster, Ben Dawkins, who's coming off 180. So they're nice problems to have. You'd much rather have it that way round than, crikey, who are we going to pick?
Yeah, no, I think, like you say, that's exactly what you want. But like to have Sam Northeast, one of the most talented cricketers around, not being able to get in the side, that shows you the depth that we potentially have. It's now just a little bit of consistency from the boys, and that's how we do it.
So just looking at the pitch there, really central on the square. If anything, maybe slightly nearer the hospital side of the ground, which is left of picture. Now, to the right of screen, as you're looking, that is downhill, the famous Canterbury slope, sloping down towards the flats, which are coming into view. So often the breeze is going that way and it's downhill, and batters target that area. But it's a big field today. You can see the rope's been brought in quite a long way. It's still a big field, and playing right in the middle is possibly a reason why they've gone for Matt Parkinson and Jake Lintott. Kent will want the field to be big with their slower bowlers to the fore.
Yeah, as you say, normally we have this short boundary here, and I think that will still be used. As we have a slope, it will still be a nice, easier one to hit. A little bit of cloud cover, like you say, and there's a slight breeze coming across that's working towards the flat. So, yeah, I think the spin is probably going to be the idea of why this boundary is a little bigger, but I also think that pitch, it looks a little shine. Speaking to Fred Clarkson earlier in the day, he said like it's not sticking in the pitch like a normal slow wicket. It's still quite true. It's easy to hit straight, and actually hitting squares a little trickier.
Okay, so expect both sides to maybe locate the middle of the pitch. You can see there the hospitality boxes at the top of the Les Ames stand, packed out. It's a really strong crowd in. We'll get to the figures a little bit later, but it's good to see so many people come down here on a Friday night. We knew this was going to be a really popular game. It's the Battle of the Bridge, of course, and I might just get our director to come back to us, because they're also playing for the Mike Dinesh Shield, which I'm holding up here. So if Matt can come back to our camera, but if he does in just a second, we'll show you the Mike Dinesh Shield. He's doing a nice little pan out of the bank at the moment with all that. There we go. That's the two of us, and this is the Mike Dinesh Challenge Shield. Former Kent and England captain, of course, the late great Mike Dinesh, who played for Kent and Essex. And this is what these teams are playing for. Of course, they're playing for points in the blast as well, perhaps more important. But that has been going since 2014. The Spitfires lead the overall head-to-head 6.5, 5.5. It's like a Ryder Cup score, isn't it? There are umpires. Chris Watts left of picture, and Nigel Long, formerly of this parish, of course, two vastly experienced umpires coming through the Broadstairs Guard of Honour. Essex winning the toss, having a bowl first. Just wonder if that's significant, Ivan. Would you think it's actually, you prefer to chase on a night like tonight, maybe a little bit of rain around and pretty decent surface? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think in general, especially with our lineup, this is probably a team that we'd want to chase with. Friday night on the lights here, it definitely gets slightly easier. It skids on a little bit under the lights and you can hit it a little cleaner. But again, like you said, I think we've got a formidable side here. There's a good chance to put on a big score here. And I really believe we bowl pretty well. There are times you go for a lot of runs, so there's times you get wickets. So 2020 is going to be like that, even if they open up early. I think there's a little inroads in their team that we can make if we get early wickets. So I feel good tonight that Kent are probably favourites.
Yep, I'd agree with that. I think Kent start favourites because they're 2 from 2. They have that momentum, and they have a hell of a top order with those two men to the fore. Daniel Bell-Drummond at the front, Tawanda Mayeye just behind him. And as the teams get ready, I must just reference what's been going on with yourself in the last few months, Ivan. Horrific car crash out in Panama, in a coma for 2.5 weeks, and yeah, but somehow you kind of pulled through. How are you, and just how nip and tuck was it?
No, I'm very good. So if there's any slurring, it's not the pints I've been having, it's the fact that I'm missing a few teeth. So I'm really, really good now. It was touch and go at a few points on how I would be, but I think I was in a coma, like you say, for 2.5 weeks. But I've woken up, I'm over the worst of it, and despite the swelling and the slurring, I'm in a really good place.
Well, it's good to have you with us. Really enjoyed your company over the last few years on kind of co-coms, and it's good to have you back in the chair. Looking forward to the Spitfires against the Eagles. The Battle of the Bridge, the Mike Dinesh Challenge Shield. We are all set to get underway. Looks like a keeper up to the stumps. Could be Shane Snater with his own little brand of medium pace swing. He's going to kick things off from the pavilion end. We are all set. Michael Pepper, the man with the gloves. We'll see him a little bit later with bat in hand. Dynamic opening batsman, but Mayeye content to turn that one out on to the leg side. And the nice thing about these batters, they've got such power that they don't have to go from ball one. Just get used to this surface. Daniel Bell-Drummond, who likes that chop down to third man to rotate the strike. Comfortable 2 for Bell Drummond. Looks like Snater wants to adopt a pretty straight line, give these batters no width.
Yeah, I think on this track that's really where you want to be. Nice, probably hitting the stumps. Do apologise. No width is going to be pretty easy. I think any width on this. Length's going to be really important and keeping it straight.
So nothing too complicated by Shane Snater, just hitting a line and length and asking Bell Drummond if he wants to go over the top. It's kind of not expressed by any stretch, as we can see there, the wide of the ground with the lights already turned on, not taking full effect, quite hazy. But expect it to perhaps swing a little bit in these conditions. Bell Drummond pulls this one, he's going to get at least a couple. Mentioned just a few minutes ago, quite a big field today. We're playing right in the middle. It's a good whack to get it over that fence. So slightly understated first over. Kent risk-free. Run a ball 6 without loss off the first. No alarms for Kent, and Essex will be pretty content as well that they got out of that first over relatively unscathed in terms of being smashed everywhere by Mayeye and Bell Drummond. A little bit of a feel each other out kind of over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you say, Snater not express pace, but it does look like the pitch is a little slow and it's just sticking in it. Just ever so slight with a couple of those shots from Deebs there, just holding back a little bit. I think it might even out as we see this next over.
So it's going to be big Charlie Bennett with the new ball from the Nackington Road end. Don't know a lot about him. Just have a little look at his numbers. Strapping lad, long run, but not standing up to him. On the pull is Bell Drummond once again picking out that long leg fielder, and it would just be the single. Just turned 20, Charlie Bennett. 2 first-class matches, 7 one-dayers, and this just his 4th T20. So early days in his career, bowling against the vastly experienced Daniel Bell Drummond, dashing to Wanda Mayeye, who's on strike. And he's gone up, and this could be down the throat of the fielder. It is, and he's gone. So Bennett exploring the middle of the wicket. We talked about that boundary size, this wicket being right in the middle, and the fielder was underneath it. It went straight down his throat. That is a big scalp for the Eagles. None from 2 coming into this game. Maye's been in good touch. Didn't quite get hold of it. It is a strength, the pull shot. Strengths could be weaknesses, and Kent lose their first, 7 for 1.
Yeah, suck it in a little bit with what is normally the short side there. He's not really played the shot, he sort of followed through with the ball. But good catch. Probably not the best ball, I'd say. He's probably got away with a little bit there. But like you said, big loss for Kent that.
Yeah, it was Luke Benkenstein with the catch. He might well be in Kent League action tomorrow. He plays for Minster in the Kent League on a Saturday. Played last week in a defeat to Whitstable, Ivan, which we won't go on about too much. Whitstable's first win in the top flight of the Kent League since 2012. But yeah, Benkenstein with a decent catch. He was right back on the rope. He knew exactly where it was. Mayeye goes, which brings Zach Crawley to the crease, a man who's in decent touch. He's obviously well documented his troubles at the beginning of this season, but good 70 the other night, and he's Hitting this one into the floor and over. It's going to get at least a couple here, might go all the way. And it does indeed. So Crawley continues where he left off on Monday, just punching that into the square, and it was up and over cover point for 4.
Yeah, lovely first ball to face. That little bit of width, hit it nicely. He's in good touch, like you said.
Yeah, he's bowler counted himself a little unlucky actually, because it was going straight to the fielder, but where he hit it into the square, and that you don't see that too often these days. It's a good sign that the square is rock hard. And we might get some decent paced pitches with a wicket and then a boundary. Crawley on the pull this time, slightly high on the bat, a bit splicey, and they'll get a couple. He's going to have to hurry. In my first glimpse of Charlie Bennett, we are at a deep mid-wicket position here, but he looks like he's got a bit of pace. He's found the top half of Tawanda Mayeye's bat, and he's a very fine player of the pull stroke, and it looked like he hurried Zach Crawley a touch there as well. That's a decent nut. Just pulls the bat inside, but I think he had a little fence at it first. Good signs for the young paceman. Good to see a young fast bowler. You're a fast bowler yourself, like to extract a bit of bounce, try and get the ball to go up the hill from the Nackington Road end. You like the look of the young fella?
Yeah, great. I love the run-up. He's kicking off the side screen way outside the 30-yard circle here. So nice rhythm as he approaches the crease. That was a lovely bounce and carry through on that one. It was tricky. I think the deck's a little slow, so that was really good signs. Crawley pulling again. He hit this one better, but he's gone straight to Benkenstein along the floor this time. So successful over from the Eagles. Dangerous man Tawanda Mayeye back in the shed. So Mayeye's run his race. Don't expect him to get a bowl. It's a very useful fielder. He'll have to make do with that role later in the game. Spitfires 14 for 1 off 2. Noticeable when you start with a lad with a long run-up like Bennett. The other day, Sussex started with spin. They started with James Coles, and the first over seemed to go by in about a minute and a half. We are approaching, well, we're 8 minutes in, yet to bowl the first ball of the third over. Crawley's gone. He has whacked that straight at mid-on, and Shane Snater just persevering that line and length, uncomplicated, unfussy. First Mayeye goes, and now Crawley. The Spitfires 14 for 2. Zach looking to pick up where he left off, I think, in the last game, where hitting straight he was phenomenal, and that one just didn't look like he got any of it. Maybe stuck in the pitch a little bit, but just laid on it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like top of off stump, wasn't it? And he just tried to whack it, just dragged it a bit, maybe just hooded the face. And he walks off just shaking his head. I feel it's a missed opportunity. And striving all summer for some form. Zach Crawley found it last game. Played really nicely, finished in some style. Whacking sixes and batting just for a few minutes on Monday evening. Looked like it was getting easier for Zach Crawley. But every knock you have, you've got to start again. But he's gone for... It's 2020, you've got to take it on, haven't you? Early doors, you're in the power play. Someone like Shane Snater pushes it up. You feel as a batter that you're good enough, especially a man of the calibre of Zach Crawley, to take him down. Just like he just hooded the face a bit and picked out mid-on. But it brings Sam Billings to the crease, and he is in good touch. Yeah,
and if you want somebody to be facing 12 overs, sorry, 18 overs of this game, I think the touch that Bilbo's in, he's a man we want to have in.
Snater just nagging away on that length. Billings with bright blue shoes this year. I think they were orange last year. Fairly snazzy footwear. Just comes down, has a little chat with Daniel Bell-Drummond, someone he knows ever so well, of course. They'll run well between the wickets, and Billings likes to kind of scamper and get off the mark. He'll be looking to drop it around to the other end. Rotate strike. Doing so here, flicking it away to the leg side. I'll get a couple.
They're not looking the kind of pitch where you're hitting it through the line here or over the top. So I think if we can look to rotate the strike early here, just keep the bowler off their line. That's what we'll look to do probably for the next 2-3 overs. Once the boys are in, seeing it well, and then they can start striking.
Yeah, 14 for 2, 16 for 2. You'd expect a little rebuild, won't you, just to limit the risk for an over or two. I know it's not the 2020 way. Oh, I think that's... No, I think he's okay. Just for a second, he went down. I thought, oh, that could have hit him in a delicate area. There's the blue shoes. It's a bit of a clash. What do you make of those? A bit of the blue and lime or blue and yellow. It's a bit of a clash with the darker blue. Kind of matches the back of the bat, though. I think that's what probably saves that look.
I don't think it's saved, mate.
He's going to get 4 here, Sam Billings. Just a little bit too straight this time from Snater. A little flick past the fieldsman, who's up inside the circle at 45, and it races away to the Les Ames of Billings' first boundary.
Yeah, snake bowling very straight here. I wonder if the boys have thought about accessing that leg side a little bit more and stepping across, but maybe not needed just yet.
Going to get a single here. Pepper trying to flick the ball back onto the stumps, an effective run out. Bill Drummond alive to the situation, calls Billings through. Soft hands from the white ball skipper. And a touch fortunate, a bit of an overthrow. You can't blame Pepper for having a shy. One more wicket here and the Eagles really would be in the box seat. So 21 for 2 after 3. Not the start that Kent would have hoped for, but it is a very long batting lineup indeed. Joe Denley due to come in next. Dean Forrester, who was excellent the other night. Who flew in from the IPL, played for the Chennai Super Kings, and really did announce himself. 35 unbeaten, 3 for 25. But the skids under Sussex Sharks when they threatened to get about 220, 230. He was on a hat-trick at one stage, and batting is his strongest suit. He smoked it everywhere. So change bowling. Zum Akhtar, formerly of Gloucestershire. He's into the attack. Driving is Billings. Acrobatic stop at mid-on. Quite where skipper intended. Great pull shot, nailed. That is 4 from Daniel Bell-Drummond. You don't bowl short to him unless you've got good pace and you can get it at throat height. And that was kind of chest height, and it said hit me, and hit it he did.
Yeah, first proper pull shot that I feel Kent have timed here. Really in front of square. They found the fielder every time, so that's nice from Dee's field. He's starting to get a read of this pitch.
At a length from Akhtar. I think it looks like the Essex attack. I mean, Snater's always got to be fullish, isn't he? He can't afford to be back over length. He hasn't that pace. But from Charlie Bennett and Zaman Akhtar here, it looks like thumping a good length hard is the way they're going to go. Nothing too floaty. That was a feature the other night, and they might have learnt from that, the Eagles. A lot of the bowlers, whenever the bowlers got full, they got smashed back over their heads. So whacking it into a good length. Back of a length, making those shots difficult. It's probably the way forwards. Actor played a little bit for the Lions. One of a number of former Gloucestershire bowlers who've gone elsewhere for 2026. So nice length again. Drummond equal to it. Turns it into the leg side for a single. Billings gone. He is livid. Went for the little flick. The short 45 was in the circle, and he thought he'd just help it on its way. High risk, premeditated, and on this occasion, it didn't work out. Looked like there might have been a little bit of glove in there, certainly high on the bat, nowhere near the middle. And he will be ruining that shot selection, Sam Billings. Such a good player and in really good touch. Did he need to do it? Well, if it flies over 45 and goes for 4 or 6, we say what a wonderful shot. On this occasion, he scooped it straight to Bennett, and Kent lose their third.
Yeah, it's a tough one, that. You look at it and you probably say you don't want to be 3 down, so you don't risk it. But that, for Bilbo, is bread and butter for him as well. He plays that shot incredibly well. More often than not, it's going to come off. It just so happens not today. But tricky, because he was hitting it so well the other night straight as well, especially at Lord's. Does he have to do it? Maybe. The bounce was really good. It was coming through nicely, so the shot was on. But then you look at 27 for 3 and you probably say, give yourself a little bit more time, wait till you're out of the power play, get yourself to 40 for 3, 40 for 2, and go from there.
Yeah, I guess you wait till you're out of the power play. That man's back on the fence, and those boundaries harder to come by. So it's whether you stick or twist, and like you say, it's a shot he plays well, and he'd back himself 9 times out of 10 to probably pull that one off for a boundary. But it hasn't happened tonight. He's gone. Another vastly experienced man comes to the crease. Joe Denley alongside the club captain Daniel Bell-Drummond. A little bit of pressure ramping up on the Spitfires here. Denley hasn't had a lot of cricket. He's white ball only these days. Probably only likely to play in the Blast. Snater continues.
So much experience to fall back on, Joe. He was... I think Deebs and Joe had a world record opening partnership, was it? And they said at the Oval.
Yeah, they were prolific as an opening pair, Bell-Drummond and Denley. They'll know each other really well. Some really good partnerships at Chelmsford as well. Nice place to bat, of course. Chelmsford, as is the Oval, as is the Spitfire ground, St Lawrence. But opening partnership for many a year in T20 cricket, so these two batters will know each other well. And Denley has a bit of time, which is not altogether a bad thing. He never strikes me, Joe, as someone that's going to go from ball 1, just take a few balls to get in. The problem with him being batting at 5, or the other night when Forrester came in ahead of him batting at 6, is that from that position with 4 or 5 overs remaining, you've really got to go from the off. This situation in some ways might suit him because he can just get in. He's a hell of a player once he's in. And a miss there though. Nice looking shot. He's not going to get a run for it. Interesting the way Essex are operating here, with Snater bowling his third on the bounce. Quite often you see captains chop and change their bowlers, but Snater looks like a new ball exponent, doesn't he, with the keeper up and Essex in the ascendancy here. You can understand why Simon Harmer's just keeping him going. I think at his pace, if you bring him back later, he could be quite hittable, but asking some good questions here.
Yeah, and like you say, he can swing the ball a lot, and you want that with the new ball. It doesn't look like it's moving much here, but he's bowled pretty well. I think his lines have been very good.
Yeah, just a real nagging length as well, isn't it? Probably early 70s, would you say, in terms of miles an hour? If you're bowling that pace on a good length, presenting the seam. Doesn't really come on to be driven. But somehow that has evaded everything. Denley playing and missing. So he's 0 from 5. Great over from Snater. Just the one off it. So, need a partnership, and they need to tick this board over, because Essex have been excellent in this power play. Came into this game none from 2. They lost to Sussex by 6 wickets. Sussex chasing down 192 with 24 balls remaining, and then they lost to Hampshire by 30 runs. Hampshire making 200 for 4 and Essex falling 30 runs short. So they've conceded 192 with 24 balls remaining and 200. So this is a much better effort from their bowlers. Beer Mulder into the attack.
Skilled bowler, Diane, but has almost in the last few years really shown himself as a really true batter. I think when he was at Kent, he was a genuine all-rounder. Really, both skills were very good, and I think recently he's actually stepped up his batting.
Scamper through for a single here. It's, on your screen, that's better, says Mulder. I was waiting for that to change. So all seam so far. Just suggests it's perhaps a little tacky. Ivan Thomas mentioned that. Got good spin options. Simon Harmer, one of the best around. Benkenstein's leggies. Then he looks to run this down. He's off the mark, short third man. Paul Walter is in the circle, but a bit of backing up. Matt Critchley, of course, bowls his leggies. So you've got Critchley, you've got Harmer, a bit of Benkenstein. So spin options all over the place, and the seamers that have been used so far have been economical. So Spitfires struggling here, 30 for 3. Last 3 balls of the power play. Oh, he's gone. Daniel Bell-Drummond, that was a bit of a swat. It must have been just a bottom edge. And the club captain has to trudge off. So the brilliant batting of Monday afternoon not being replicated here. The top order. 4 of them gone now. And a lot resting on the shoulders of Denley and the new South African recruit Dean Forrester, plus the lower order. 30 for 4. Just wasn't quite there for the pull stroke. It was a bit of a flat-footed swat, which Daniel Bell-Drummond has got in his locker. Not his best, Ivan.
No, not his best. It looks like we've tried to force a few of these as well. Deeves, Bilbo, look like trying to force the game. And maybe Zach as well, just looking, trying to play through the line. And maybe this pitch just isn't one of those wickets where we can just try and hit back at the bowler. Again, when you're 4 down already, though, it's hard not to. I think you've almost got to put pressure back on them, so that's probably what Deeves is thinking there. It's almost too early in the game to try and fight back, but you know, you look at, we've lost our top 4 now. Like, we're probably relying a lot on Joe here to lead us through, and we'd probably want it to see him still in the last couple of overs.
Yeah, well, Joe Denley, 40 years of age, still fit as a fiddle, and due a few. Didn't get any opportunity the other night. Came in at 5 when most of the good work had been done at Lord's. Didn't get any. So he's got an opportunity here to remind everyone what he can do. And Dean Forrester, 35 unbeaten and a 3-for on debut. Well, tonight is a new game, and still relatively young, Dean Forrester, but prodigiously talented. Just takes the oomph out the crowd, doesn't it? Early wickets. All these Spitfire fans have come in. I'll get Liam to tell me what the crowd is at some point. Just going one by one. I can see him counting them. They just keep still, it would be easier. get a figure for you, but I would think it's excessive. 4.5. Defending, just opening the blade. Comfortable single. So that concludes the power play. Not the power play that Kent would have dreamt of. 32 for 4, having been inserted by Simon Harmer. A lot of people gesticulating and wondering why Zach Crawley had to play that shot. And what was Sam Billings thinking about that paddle over short 45? Great to see so many in. That is a really popular area. Lots of hospitality behind the bank. Nice place to watch from. As is that in the flats. Change of ends for Zaman Akhtar. Dean Forrester turns 26 on the 7th of June. 5 T20 internationals for South Africa. 37 T20s across his career. He's not vastly experienced it. Very talented, and he clips this one away. Settle for the single. It's the best in T20 cricket of 80 not out. 3 first-class hundreds, 3 List A hundreds. Then he drives down the ground, one-handed. It's a handsome-looking shot. Get 2. 4,281 in the ground so far. Pull there, Denley, but didn't get much of it. Bit of a bottom edge. Maybe just stayed a fraction lower than he expected. Just thinking about how much you batted in T20 cricket, Ivan, but were you probably a number 10? Or was that being too generous?
I was 10 if there was only 9 playing, I think.
But did you kind of get to this stage and say, oh, we're 4 down early here. I might get an opportunity, I might get a few, or do you think, oh no, I might have to go out and face the music?
I love batting. Batting was the funnest thing to do. I was better with my eyes closed than I was open, I think. I do look back now and think, oh, batting was easy. Surely batting is easy. Bowling's the hard game.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on that. I mean, you get one chance as a batter, don't you? You make one mistake, Sam Billings just didn't quite get the middle of the bat, or Zach Crawley, and before you know it, you're walking back and that's your game done. Zach Crawley to Wandamiye, not going to bowl, are they? That is their game done. One mistake. You bowl a poor ball as a bowler, you walk back to your mark, you get another opportunity to do it again. You boys don't know how lucky you are.
How did you deal with that in a game? If you've come in to wonder you're out, how do you impact the game after that?
Well, you just try and do your best in the field, don't you? Support the boys in whichever way you can, but pass on to the information perhaps about the pitch. We've got to change of bowling. First look at spin. It is the skipper Simon Harmer into the attack, and it's not a bad time for him to come on from an Eagles perspective. Just try and strangle the life out of this Kent innings as Spitfires look to rebuild. Fix this away. Once again, it's just going to be a single. Find the fence. Beautiful control, hasn't he, Simon Harmer, of flight, line and length. So we've had 45 deliveries, just the 3 boundaries. One to Bill Drummond, one to Crawley, one to Billings. Very un-2020 like, very different from the game we saw the other day. Could be to do with the surface. Obviously it's something to do with the fact that we've lost early wickets. Never quite can judge a wicket till both sides have batted on it, and perhaps it's a 140, 150 pitch. Difficult to say at the moment. So interesting move. Slip coming in here. So just perhaps a hint of spin, maybe a bit of psychology. Pulled that one down. Forrester cutting. Steinfield's just a single. Nearly a very embarrassing moment for Charlie Bennett. Just went down the slope, or it spun on him a bit, but stuck the big left mid out. Missed it, would have gone for 4. Only thinking about 2 here, but Forrester won't want that. So a good start from Harmer, just 3 runs off that. Spitfires 40 for 4 off 8, 5 runs and over. Yet to really catch fire this innings. Early wickets can do that. So probably argue a little bit of a tail as well here for Kent. That top order, top 6 is excellent. You've got Jake Lintop down to come in next, then Tom Rogers, Matt Milnes, excellent batter, but wouldn't have got many T20 opportunities. Fred Clarkson and Matt Parkinson, so no Bertie Foreman. That's the one change that Ken have made. Parkinson for Foreman, which just weakens the batting a little bit. Then he drives and no run here. So a lot depending on this partnership, I'd suggest. Not that Lintop, Rogers and Milnes are not capable.
Fred Clarkson got a few runs in the last few years as well. He hit some okay. You don't want to give him more than maybe 2 overs, but not too bad. And Matt Milnes, he's in good nick with the bat.
Denley gets hold of this one. And that is over the ropes. That is Joe Denley at his best. Back of a length ball. We got underneath it. Too short for Mulder. Denley not trying to keep that one down. Just went wallop. And that is Kent's first 6. And maybe that'll get this innings going. Classic Denley. He is off and running.
Yeah, he's hit that well. Probably one of the first ones we've timed properly for a little while there, but really nice. Too short there from Vian.
Oh, he's bowled him. So 6. And then 2 balls later, one that just nips back through the gate, trims the off bail. And Denley has to tuck the bat under the arm. He looks ruefully at the pitch. Got a good one from Vian Mulder. What a way to bounce back from being hit for 6. And Kent in all kinds of disarray at 46 for 5.
Yeah, Joe, big one there. To be honest, it was there to hit. It's just nipped up the slope. You don't normally expect it to do that. So really well bowled from Vian. Kent in a real trouble here.
Yeah, good bit of bowling. So Jake Lintott, who's really impressed with the ball in his first 2 matches for the Spitfires, as we take a second look at this wicket from, just trying to drive ever so slightly on the up, as you do in T20 cricket. Just feels it's full enough to drive down the ground. Always plays with an immaculate straight bat, full blade does Joe Denley, but just a little bit of movement off the pitch, back up the slope, as Ivan Thomas described, and clips the off bail, and that is well bowled, you have to say. The Eagles came into this game, remember, none from 2, struggling for form, struggling to contain batting lineups of Sussex Sharks and Hampshire. Much vaunted Kent top order. Well, they've reduced them to 46 for 5. It's a bit of a flat feeling at the moment inside the Spitfire ground. That one has beaten the outside. It's gone down the hill, so just wonder whether Simon Harmer might opt for a slip. Indeed he does.
Yeah, good skill from Vian there. I think after that shorter ball Joe hit for 6, that follow-up ball was very good. Wicket superb, and that first ball to Lintott is fantastic. So I think, yeah, he's running with a little bit more confidence now.
Yep, change of end, and Harmer wants a field change. This is where you can earn your money as a captain. Nice position to be in. Not often you can call in your fielders. 46 for 5. That is bowlers whacked round Chelmsford by Sussex and Southampton too. Lintott plays nice and straight. Bit of a ricochet. What we don't need here is a run out. Wonder how Ian Forrest is going to approach this. Lintott can obviously bat. He's in at 7, and still Rogers and Milnes and co. But it's going to take something pretty special from Forrester, I think, if Kent are going to post anything competitive.
Yeah, again, you kind of need them to keep rotating the strike here. I think Harmer will really want to sort of just like put the foot on the throat here and take a couple more poles. So if we can keep rotating it, maybe go at least 6. We need a boundary and over, really. But if we can go to between 7s and 8s and over, and then we can try and open up the arms towards the end of the innings.
A nice time for Simon Harmer to be bowling here. Just 3 off his first. In terms of a matchup, spinning the ball away down the slope to a left-hander. He's got to slip in. Feature of Forrester's innings the other day was how he likes to hang on that back foot to the spin. That was quite a full delivery, but unless he can drive it, he likes to go back and head off the pitch. So Jake Lintott made his name in the 100. Warwickshire for the last few years, the Bears. More renowned for his left arm wrist spin. Got a job to do here with the bat. He's reverse sweeping, picks out the backward square on the offside. There's no run. See the fielders running around. Harmer changing the field after every couple of balls, just trying to keep Forrester guessing. He's left the whole of the leg side open for the single, trying to get him to maybe push across the line. Bowls it slowly and invites that option. Forrester content to nudge into the covers. Another very steady over from Simon Harmer. So 49 for 5 at the halfway stage. Does not make good reading for Kent fans.
Yeah, Harmer, a tricky man to come in and start hitting from the off, especially. He's very skilled. That change of pace, same length, same line. That change of pace is really tricky to keep your eye on.
Yeah, well, you ideally want your batters set. Like, if you're kind of one down when Simon Harmer comes on, and you've got guys who are maybe 30 or 40 not out, you can really go after him. That's a tough task even then, but when you've got new batters, 49 for 5, really tricky. Mulder to continue. He's round the wicket, left-handed Forrester. It's a nice looking shot. 2 here. So 50 up for the Spitfires. Slightly ironic cheer by the Kent faithful. Oh no, he's chipped it. No, it's fine. Thought Lintola just picked out Harmer, but it's going to be a boundary. So he struck it nicely. Heart was in mouth. Certainly my heart was in the mouth. Anyway, I thought as I saw that chipped, it's a slightly poor angle. Gave himself a bit of room actually, looking at the replay, and picked his gap beautifully. So credit to Jake Lintola. He's been proactive. He's gone for a reverse sweep against the spinner. Just opened up the offside there quite cleverly. It's a compact shot down the ground for 4. Strange bit of cricket. Very full delivery. Quite know what. Lintott looked like he was going across maybe to scoop it. And then Mulder followed him and went wider. Good bit of bowling actually. Lintott went a little bit early. Able to adjust, and a good take from Michael Pepper. Bouncer, and he ducks underneath it. So good response to being hit for that 4 by Ian Mulder. 3 dots to finish the over, 7 off it. Spitfires 56 for 5.
Yeah, gutsy follow up that from Ian Mulder, I feel. Like at this point in the game, that's something that they would have gone for a little bit there, but after the ball before, it's a good follow up. Kent needing a couple of boundaries and over here as a minimum. I don't feel that the pitch is quite a 56 for 5.
No, slightly subdued Spitfire ground. Look, he's not waving that 4 with any kind of oomph, is he? Yeah, we see maybe someone needs to inject a bit of life here into these fans as Harmer is into Forrester, who drives, missed times, and it goes back to the bowler. The problem is when you're 56 for 5, even if the pitch is a little bit tricky, if you've only got to chase 110 or something, Spitfires get a few more than that, you can adjust accordingly. Pace your run chase, you know what you've got to get, of course. Forrester drives and he sits straight to Snater at cover.
Harmer being the biggest threat here, do you allow him to just bowl out his overs and then come and attack afterwards, or do you feel like they need to take him down as well?
Well, I don't think you can allow Simon Harmer just to bowl. He's obviously a threat and you've got to be aware of the situation. 56 for 5, you can't just throw your wicket away, you've got to find the ball in your slot. He doesn't bowl you many of those. Tosses this one up, and we've had 5 dots here, so we could see the rarest of all things in T20 cricket, a maiden. He's such a canny operator and strangle the life out of you at the best of times. But you've got Kent in trouble as he cuts and he finds Snater, and that is the maiden. So he hit that one well, Forrester, but Snater intercepts, and that is a maiden over for the skipper Simon Harmer. So if losing wickets wasn't bad enough, they are now killing the run rate as well. But all the time Forrester is there, and he's 8 off 17. Just feel if he does have a big end to this innings, still 8 overs to go, and 48 deliveries is a lot. Suddenly get So Simon Harmer turning to his fellow spinner, Matt Critchley. So down the wicket is Lintott. He's been quite busy since he's come in to add some impetus. I say busy, he's 6 from 10. So he's hardly rattling along, but he's looked to be inventive. Used his feet there, he's had a reverse sweep. He's gone into out against Mulder. Sweeping. He needed to hit that because that was not missing much. Hit it, he did. Nice looking shot. To get the one. He does pretty well off his own bowling. Feel that this might be Forrester's chance with the ball spinning in. Yeah, he sweeps this one away. Bit of a kind of pull shot, sweep shot. And he's going to get a 4. So a rare boundary for the Spitfires. Just felt that DM Forrester would be preferring this matchup to the off-spin of Simon Harmer. Ball turning in. The pitch is pretty central on the square, which means the boundaries are quite large, but just helping that one round the corner. It's first 4.
A little bit straight from Critchley here to the left-hander, which has helped into a little bit, but not a bad over again. Still run rate just dipping under 5s.
Yeah, so that Forrester 4, it's just the 5th boundary. Joe Denley hit a 6. 1-6, 5 4s from 13 overs, not what you'd expect. But this can happen in 2020 cricket. You can be brilliant one day, chase down a score with 10 balls remaining, make 190 odd look pedestrian, and the next day fall in a bit of a heap. So Harmer starting his last over, going to finish things off. Maiden in the last set. Sweeping, reverse sweeping, and he's got it through. So a bit of a misfield there. Connected well. And just some signs that Forrester wants to move through the gears.
Yeah, faced 22 balls now. That could be most faced so far. His iron. Like you said, he's making things happen. Gives himself some room there.
Yeah, Joe Denley faced 19 deliveries for his 14. Forrester the mainstay. And he's at twice as many boundaries as anybody else. Wondering if you're in the Kent dressing room, you're thinking about what can we possibly defend? 130? Get to 130, it's some way off at the moment. Forrester cuts. A half stop at backward point. I think about a second and they'll get a comfortable 2.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I think it's going to be a lot of the boys coming together in the field here, trying to stop as many singles as you can here, because I think it's going to be easy to nerdle it around and chase a small total. So you're going to have to try and force them to hit boundaries, which is pitch doesn't look easy to do, as we've seen so far.
Yeah, and that's just clever bowling by Harmer. Just took all the pace off that one. Forrester trying to cut, could only succeed in bottom edging it into the pitch. So Harmer finishes his 4 overs, as he so often is, really economical. Spitfires 72 for 5. Maiden for Harmer in his penultimate over. His 4 figures in just a sec. This is the computer tries to update. 6 overs remaining, so you get 10 over, which what you'd hope to get off the last 6. I mean, Kent have struggled to get anywhere near that so far, as Critchley begins a new over and sweeping his Lintop, drags it past his leg stump. He's thinking about the 2 and he's going to get 2.
Yeah, I think the Kent dressing room would take 120 from here. But again, Canterbury is not a low-scoring ground usually, so good bowling up top, I think, to defend this.
Nice looking shot. Benkenstein trolling that bottom side of the ground, keeps it to just the single. My computer has decided to... Oh no, it's updated. Yeah, 4 overs, 1 maiden, none for 14 for Simon Harmer. Nice time for him to bowl. Beautiful control as an off-spinner. Good variation. Didn't bowl it too quickly. We talk about all the time these days, spinners can whack it into the pitch and bowl flat and quick. Sometimes that gives the batters pace to deflect and to paddle, and he didn't do any of that. He took the pace off, recognised the situation, bowled beautifully.
Yeah, and that's been allowed because both Snater and Bennett bowled so well early up top as well. So they managed to bowl quite a few overs. Let Harmer come on after the power play. Just really dominate, I think, with it, like you say, with his skill.
Snater has 1 over remaining. He's 1 for 14 off his 3. He was excellent. Forrester, big swing, and I think he might have gone. Oh, he hasn't gone. It's a wide. Well, they were celebrating there. I don't know if it's a bit of kidology. Critchley and Michael Pepper looked somewhat aghast. They thought they might have got their man thrown up there wide. And they were appealing. Maybe they heard a nick, and maybe it was Forrester hitting the ground. Let's have another little look at this. It was wide and big appeal. Chris Watts, not interested. Wide. son makes a fleeting appearance behind the woolly stand. Gone for that one, Forrester, and that has cleared the rope. So maximum for Deanne Forrester. Much needed for the Spitfires. That was in the slot. Prefers this matchup with the ball turning into him. Down on one knee, slog sweeps it over mid-wicket for 6. To repeat the dose, he's going to gets 4. Yes, he does get 4. Good effort at deep mid-wicket. But he has crept over. A bit full of that time from Critchley. Couldn't get underneath it, but he got enough of it. And I think it was the tumbling Benkenstein couldn't reel it in. So good finish to the over. 6 and a 4 off Critchley. Forrester all of a sudden has 31 off 29, which just shows one stage I think he was about 8 off 19. So just started to motor. His strike rate has improved. 5 overs remaining if he stays at the crease, and all of a sudden that 130, 135 is looking possible. For the youngster, the pace man, big Charlie Bennett, 20 years of age, back into the attack. He was the man who started things off for the Eagles. Picked up Tawanda Miyeye, called it deep square, short ball, which Miyeye got a decent piece of, but picked out the man right on the deep square fence. 7 for 1 at that stage. Hasn't got a lot better. Beautiful pull shot from Lintott. Bennett once again banging the ball halfway down. I think Lintott might have been expecting that. And he just stood tall, swatted it for 4. The boundary is just starting to come, and whilst that is welcome from a Kent perspective, it just shows there are no real terrors in this surface. Short again, it's an off-pace delivery. To pulls. Everyone back on the leg side, including long on who fields. Lintott has skied that, and Michael Pepper wants it, and another one goes. So decent knock from Lintott, but he has gone for 18. The Eagles have their 6th. Spitfires 94 for 6.
Yeah, these two looking to make something happen here, and I think they really had to. Tricky, they started the middle little couple, and like we said before, it's about facing balls, I think, on this track, and he faced nearly 20 balls there, so it was time for him to have a look with 4 overs left to go. But yeah, not looking like we're going to sort of get to the 130, 140 mark at the moment, but let's see what the tail can wag.
Yeah, well, Forrester very much the key here. He's 32, following on from the other night when he was 35 unbeaten. Very different type of innings. He's had to rebuild, but just some signs that he's moving through the gears. Decent partnership with Lintott has come to an end. Lintott knew that it was going to be short. Charlie Bennett exploring the middle of the pitch, not for the first time. Lintott kind of gave himself a bit of room and rather flapped at the shot. It was a beautiful pull shot earlier in the over. That one not quite as good. He departs. A couple of left-handers at the crease now. Rogers pulling, and he's nailed that somewhere near the gap. Really good bit of work from deep mid-wicket. Prevents the second. A long way up that hill. Rogers is away. There you see members of the Kent backroom team running around and throwing t-shirts at random people and then running off again. Scatter blast. So Tom Rogers, the failed bank holiday Monday, bowled his first over for 5, his second over went for 30.
Been there.
Yeah, has come back from a nasty injury, Tom Rogers. Good to see him back on a cricket field doing what he does best, and he's no slouch with the bat. On strike to Zuman Akhtar, who's got excellent figures, a 1 for 11 from 2. He round the wicket. That's all Tom Rogers has to do, really, get Dean Forrester back onto strike. Shadows lengthening. Sun, which is shining straight in Ivan Thomas's eyes. Oh, flat one. That could be a no ball, and it is indeed. He's been caught, but it won't count because Chris Watts has his arm outstretched. That is a flat one. Forrester did pretty well to hit it as well as he did. A baseball swing in the end, but that was chest high, no doubt about that. And he gets a warning. And a free hit. That, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, he might hit it for 6, Tom Rogers, but I think Forrester would love to be on strike for this free hit, but it's going to be Rogers. Off-pace delivery, pulled into the leg side. Get the 1, so no huge damage done. But no malice intended. Zuman Akhtar with that flat one. This might have slipped out. Okay, so you might be able to pick up on our effects, Mike. Stevie Watts, the voice of Kent cricket, as 100 has been brought up by the Spitfires. There it is. A cheer of sorts. So 3 overs remaining. Even the mascots look slightly underwhelmed, don't they? 102 for 6. Kent looking for 3 big overs to finish off an innings which has never really got going. Decent partnership between Jake Lintop and Dean Forrester. They were 46 for 5 when Joe Denley was skittled by Dean Mulder. A recovery of sorts, and if they can have a good 3 overs, you never know. Up in the air. This will take some catching. It has been pouched though. Big Paul Walter, big bucket hands at 45. And that is a big scalp as Kent hope for 130, 140, all rather depended on Dean Forrester, but Charlie Bennett once again slapping it into the pitch. Forrester on the pull, top edge. Good catch this, never easy over the shoulder, but shelling peas for Paul Walter. And Forrester goes for a runnable 34. Kent in the mire, 102 for 7.
Yeah, it looks tricky out there. I think the average pace is below 80 mile an hour, so there's clearly not a lot of speed in the wicket. Makes it tough to go at the bowlers, especially when it's doing that, sticking in a little bit. Had to go for it then, I think, with a couple of overs left to spare. So let's see what Millsy can do. 3 overs to go. You kind of want to make sure we can bat every ball of this game and see where we can get to.
Yep, Milne's more than capable. He's played some decent innings in the championship. A decent score at Worcester. I think he got at least 50, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100. Quite.
Have a look. I'm not sure it was 100, but it was a decent effort. Going to be on strike, Matt Milnes, 31 years of age now. Second stint here at the Spitfire ground. He's facing young Charlie Bennett. He's back of a length once more, nudged into the leg side. Milnes' batting stats, best first class score of 78. I think that might have been at Worcester this year. I'm looking at Liam for confirmation. Matt Milnes' career best, Liam, I'm looking for 78. Was that this year at Worcester? I think it. I mean, you might know. Viewers might know, but yeah, the bottom line is he's a more than capable batsman. He averages 19 in first-class cricket. 550s. Off-pace delivery smoked by Rogers. And he's been taken. No, he hasn't. Good bit of work, though, on the deep mid-wicket fence by Noah Dane. And that saved 5 runs because he pulled this, and I thought that has gone for 6. It's a big boundary, and he did really well to catch it and release it before he went over the rope. One of those that if we were allowed, if it was a proper televised game rather than our enhanced stream coverage, which is sponsored incidentally by Cluberly. Cluberly making money for you and your club. Check them out at cluberly.com, and thanks for their sponsorship. And that is pulled by Milnes. I can tell you that that 78 was against Yorkshire at Canterbury in the county championship back in April 2021. But he definitely got a 50 at Worcester this year, and he's in decent touch, and you can tell that by that stroke right there. You do not bowl short to our Matt Milnes. So Charlie Bennett kind of know what he's looking to do. I don't think he's bowled anything that had been in the length to drive, and once again this time was a bit of a heave-ho to the leg side to just get the single. So Milnes is Kent versus Worcestershire. 50 he made, took 4 for 81. Of course, the game after that, 3 for 87 and 6 for 12 in the win against Derbyshire. So in a good touch with bat and ball. He's going to have to bowl his socks off if Kent can get anything out of this. He's got a job to do with the bat first. But Rogers on strike. That is a rare full delivery from Charlie Bennett. It's been drilled down the ground to long off. Another successful over. Dean Forrester, the man dismissed in Bennett's last over. 2 overs remaining. Kent 110 for 7. About the Kent attack, Ivan, from what you've seen of this pitch. Milnes is an important man. You've got Lintott, you've got Parkinson. Not easy for spinners if a team needs 5, 6 and over, is it? If they need to go at 9s and 10s, you kind of think, okay, difficult against good quality spinners, but when you're just knocking it around for singles and the batters don't have to take a lot of risk, that's a tough ask for the wristies.
They're going to be tricky for the boys to sort of hold down a run rate here, especially when there's no pressure on the batting. Like you say, all they need to do is rotate a little bit.
Mulder is back into the attack, and that one nearly went back onto the stumps. I think it was actually stump. Our angle is not the best. So just a reminder, if you're just joining us, with Kent at 110 for 7. Tawanda Mayeye was called on the deep square boundary for 1. Zach Crawley picked out mid-on off Shane Sneijder for 7. Sam Billings scooped one round the corner of Zuman Akhtar for 8. Ibra Drummond made 13. So Denley hit one glorious 6 and then was cleaned up 2 balls later. Good one from Mulder, who's in here. Swing and a miss. Sure it carried, did it? No one quite knows what's going on. He wants a review. Umpires are going to have a chat here, so perhaps a little bit of a bottom edge. Fielders are celebrating, but Tom Rogers is going absolutely nowhere, and we're going to carry on. So you can celebrate all you like. Essex, try again. Let's just have another little look at this here. Bit of a...
I don't know whether it just went down the slope more than anything there.
The fact that the umpires were conferring would suggest that they thought he must have hit it, and that it didn't carry. Otherwise, the umpire Chris Watts at the bowler's end would have just said not out.
Didn't make for very resplendent cricket, that, I don't think.
No, know what was going on. So Joe Denley cleaned up, and then a decent partnership between Jake Lintott and Dean Forrester, for both were caught pulling. That has gone high. This is going to take some catching. Miles into the sky. And he's taken. So good bit of catch. Good catch in the end. Trying to see who that is. Benkenstein, I think. He's been excellent patrolling that bottom side of the ground. Rogers got hold of that one. It went many a mile in the sky. The sun might just have been in the corner of Luke Benkenstein's eye, but he pockets it. Rogers has to go. Just look how high this ball went. He got underneath it. And he had a lot of time to wait for that, but just as comfortable as you like. Pat on the back as well. And Kent lose their 8th. 110 for 8 now.
It's where we regret pushing those boundaries out a little bit there. But yeah, tricky catch, never easy, especially under the lights and the clouds. But yeah, Ken struggling here with the last 9 balls to go. The big man in though. Loosen up those arms.
Yes, interesting. Fred Klassen's reputation as a batter is kind of enhanced because of his fan club, who happen to be on commentary. Ivan Thomas today and Cameron Emmanuel Burns, who's my regular co-commentator, who waxes lyrical about everything that Fred Klassen can do with willow in hand. And he has played some useful knocks, but when he strolls out on number 10 in this situation, I still worry.
Never seen a more confident number 10. Fresh haircut.
Eight balls remain. As good as Klassen is being built up alongside me, I'm very keen for Matt Milnes to face the majority of these 8. Well, that is a boundary, and that is why an extraordinary pull shot, not out of the textbook by any stretch. Kind of helped it round the corner. Wasn't a free swing of the bat, but he timed it nicely, and he gets another boundary. So second one for Matt Milnes, both of them pull strokes. Pretty controlled, in fairness. He came down the wicket, bowler saw him coming, bounced him, watched it well. Oh, that is beautiful for Milnes. That was what Billings was trying to do earlier in the piece. Just helping it over short fine leg. Back-to-back boundaries for Milnes, who's made batting look easier than most. 14 off 5. Nice sometimes to be a tail ender when it's your second string. You can play with a certain amount of freedom.
Yeah, didn't know he had that in the locker. He's given himself room there. Mulder's followed him. That's a really good shot. Managed to get that over to keep his head.
So 1 over remaining. If Fred Klassen can get Milnes on strike, Kemp can push up to around about 130. You think, okay, it's not a lot, but it's something to bowl at. When they were 46 for 5, approaching the end of the 9th over, Kent probably would have taken that. Shane Snater back to bowl his last over. He's been excellent. 3 overs, 1 for 14. Sometimes you come back to bowl the last and you get a couple of set batters and they're looking to tee off, and I dare say that is the case with Matt Milnes. Not a bad time to come back, is it? 120 for 8. Numbers 9 and 10 at the crease. Nicely bowled. Oh, ball looked like it was out the back of the hand, and Milnes hit it nicely, but couldn't beat extra cover. Klassen. There he goes.
What did I say?
The big Ivan Thomas build-up, and the big fast bowler didn't disappoint. Back of a length. Snater's no great pace, and he was dispatched. Bang, have that. 6 to Freddie Klassen. So the youngsters trying to get the ball back. They're usually pretty good in those flats at lobbing it back, but it's gone in the bush. A taller fella there in the blue shirt with the glasses. I think he might just have tipped it over the fence and into that bush. And it's asking nicely if, yep, lady there. Can we get the ball, please? Get on with the game. Surely Nigel Long's got a spare. There he goes. So he's gone straight up and he's going to go to short third man and taken. Paul Walter once again, those big buckety hands. So Glasson's was a short stay but an entertaining one. Can't lose their 9th. 127 for 9. Wondering about how the Eagles will come out and chase this. Paul Walter and Michael Pepper will look to come out the blocks hard here. You chase a small total, you don't want to mess around with it. Opportunity to go hard in the power play, and you have a decent power play, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, I think Tall Paul will look to come hard. I think him and Pepper have actually started pretty well, and when they get going it's tricky. But again, this pitch doesn't look like the kind of one where you can just swing from ball one, so if we can bowl similar sort of way the guys have, like nice and straight in that sort of top of off sort of line, it might not be too easy for him.
So Matt Parkinson, Kent's number 11, he's got a couple of balls to show what he can do, enjoy himself. Do you think just get a single and get Milnes on strike if you're number 11? Have a good swing. It's a sensible option, but love to have seen Parky go for glory. Beautifully bowled from Shane Snater as they scamper through for a bye. And Kent finish 129 for 9. That is not what they would have hoped for when Tawanda Mayeye and Daniel Bell Drummond were striding out at 6:30, having been asked to bat first by Simon Harmer and the Eagles. Mayeye went for 1, Bell Drummond made just 13, Crawley 7, Billings 8, Denley 14. Dean Forrester top scoring with 34 out of run of ball. His was a rebuilding effort, largely alongside Jake Lintott, who made a run of ball 18. Tom Rogers 7 off 10 for him. Matt Milnes smoked 3 boundaries, 15 from 6. Fred Klassen one mighty blow over the leg side, he made 8. But altogether a little underwhelming by the Spitfires in front of a 4,500 strong crowd. 120, 9 for 9 off their 20 overs. Snater excellent, 2 for 23 from his 4. Charlie Bennett, the youngster, 20 years of age, 3 for 25. All of them by banging the ball hard into the pitch and mistimed pull strokes. So Monakhtar 1 for 18. Vian Mulder 3 for 26. Simon Harmer wicketless, but just conceded 14 from his 4 overs. Matt Critchley slightly expensive, 2 overs, none for 22. All of which means the Essex Eagles are in the box seats and the Spitfires have got a lot of work to do. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. The Eagles will need 130 to win, and we'll see you then. So the umpires are in the middle. Sam Billings leading out the Kent Spitfires as they attempt to defend 129. It is way below par, even on a pitch which looked tricky to bat on. We'll find out exactly how tricky to bat on it is when Michael Pepper, Paul Walter and co do what they do. Fred Klassen has the ball in hand, and it looks like he's going to start pavilion end, and that's unusual. He started the other night from the Nackington Road end, and that slope favouring the ball coming back into the right-hander, which is Classen's modus operandi. But I guess the advantage, Ivan, of bowling from this end as a left armer is you can swing it up the slope and nip it down, so you can beat the bat on both sides.
Yeah, I think that's the key here, and also the big boundary. It's tough not to take it on. So central wickets out there, and I think that's what Kent needs to strive for here. The first 6 overs is wickets is the game here for Kent.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking of the power play for the Spitfires, they were 4 down in it. Daniel Bell-Drummond was dismissed, 2 balls short of the end of the power play, 30 for 4 at that point. And they subsided to 46 for 5 when Joe Denley got a good one from V.M. Moulder. But here's Fred Klassen. Kent need early wickets. I guess the other thing to say is it's important that the Spitfires don't go searching too hard for wickets. One of the features of the way Shane Snater bowled was he just hit a line and length, and the wickets kind of came to him. Zach Crawley forcing, Tawanda Mayeye forcing. If you hit a good area often enough, there's a bit in the pitch. Walter intent to defend. I guess the flip side from an Essex perspective is you know you only need 130. You don't have to panic if you face a few dot balls.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure on the bowling side here completely, and I think that not forcing the situation from Fred here is going to be pretty tricky to maintain, because suddenly one boundary and you're already up against the pump.
So driving is Walter. That's an attractive shot, but it's well reeled in by Dean Forrester, diving away to his right. So Michael Pepper on strike. I like the look of Pepper over the last couple of years. Wanted him to open with Phil Salt for England, because I thought that would just be a nice touch, wouldn't it? Salt and Pepper opening for England, but he's not a million miles away. He's a dangerous customer in this format of the game. Of course, keeper batters England's pretty blessed with, but he can give it a bit of a whack. So Sam Billings on screen there with Zach Crawley. Kind of think tank when you're defending 129. Sometimes you have to pull the old rabbit out of a hat. So slip is in. Crawley's a fine catcher, of course. And that's a good shot from Walter. And that is going to be the Eagles' first boundary. Bit too straight for Klassen. Trying to get that ball to swing up the slope. That is sometimes the problem with bowling from this end as a left armer. Get a bit straight to the lefty, he tucks you away.
And again, no pressure on Walter here, so he can try and make something happen without a lot of stress. Makes it really tough to bowl. Really small margin for error.
So 6 without loss after 1. That is exactly where Kent found themselves. Kind of went wrong from over 2 onwards. So Matt Milnes from the Nackington Road end. Bowled that length to Tom Clark, his first ball the other evening. Got pumped back over his head fairly unceremoniously. Good to see Daniel Bell drummed in pretty tight there at mid-on. Kent can't afford to let these singles be collected. See that ring of fielders, both off and leg side, pretty close. Force the batters into perhaps lofting the ball and creating a chance. A nice looking shot from Michael Pepper. Get a couple here. Races away when it gets on those wickets, but Joe Denley fielding out there at deep backward point. See him at extra cover. Over the top and a chance, is it? No, just short of Denley. Who, even though he's turned 40 years of age, is still pretty quick. And if there was a sniff of a chance, he would have been attacking that and diving forwards, but always dropping short. Just feel that the Spitfires need a few things like that just to go their way. Pick out deep cover, a bit like Miyeye picked out deep square.
Still good signs for Kent, I feel like. Boys, Pepper and Walter still trying to make things happen. It still doesn't look easy to come hard. Potential here.
We're going to miss from Walter, reinforcing Ivan Thomas's point. So 9 without loss after 2. Batting looking far from easy. But the Eagles know they need just 130. That is what is likely to work against Kent in this run chase, but a couple of wickets, a bit of a squeeze. The wrist spinner Parkinson and Lintott who can dry things up. Just feel they need 2 or 3 wickets in this power play. I think this is a key spell here. Tom Rogers, 5 runs off his first, 30 runs off his second against Sussex. Didn't quite get it right. Coming back from quite a long layoff. Got away with that one. Oh, that was a horrible swing. Exactly what the Spitfires need. A couple of horrible strokes like that and a little bit of luck. Poles everywhere. Spread some panic in the ranks. It's an Essex side that have lost their first 2, of course. Pulling is Walter, but he just picks out Daniel Bell-Drummond. Got on top of it, kept it down.
Big man to bump, but again, not easy to time.
Flicked over the top. It's going to be another boundary to Paul Walter, using those long levers and a decent amount of wrist in there as well, just to flick that one away. Not a terrible delivery by any stretch from Tom Rogers, but good batting.
Yeah, Rogers had a nice line so far. And again, like the freedom that the Essex players have here allows that a little bit of luck. He's not timed it great. Got away with 4.
Slip still in, third man on the ring. This is a bit of a swat as well. He's going to get another 4. That one not quite such a good shot, more of a heave. Paul Walter won't care. He's muscled it away. He's a big, strong man. And back-to-back boundaries ruins what was a pretty decent over from Tom Rogers. Essex 18 without loss after 3. So Milnes to continue. That's a beautiful shot. That is a high-class shot from Michael Pepper, and he's gone all the way. That is not a bad delivery. Back of a length, and he just stood up and kept the blade right through the ball. That is high class indeed. His first maximum. Essex first 6 as well. And you won't see many better shots than that. Look at the pose, just held the finish. And popped it in the back of the net.
Yeah, not on this deck as well. I think that makes it even harder. That's a superb shot. That one looked like it just skidded, stayed a little low.
On the deep cover fence. Just interested extra cover for a while. Craig Klassen, the man at extra. Walter got it square of him. Didn't get it anywhere near the middle of the bat. It's one that you just need to go to hand. Pepper looking to the leg side boundary where there are 2 fielders back, although Klassen, yeah, he's going to stay back. It's moving squarer, so 2 men back for the pull stroke. Will Milnes thump it into the deck? Yeah, he does. It beats him. It's a funny deck, isn't it? We saw one from Charlie Bennett at the beginning of the Spitfire innings. It's quite a sluggish pitch. The odd one stays down, and then from nowhere, one just kind of kisses the wicket and whistles through. That was evidence of it there. Nigel Long signals wide, and Matt Milnes not overly impressed, thinking that Pepper had just gone across outside off stump. Saw Sam Billings come unstuck, playing that stroke. 45, Milnes not happy. Chuntering, shaking his head.
Man who is not afraid to show his emotion on his face. A very angry bowler, Matt Milnes.
Yeah, can he channel it? Off-pace delivery, flick round the corner, nicely bowled. Pepper not essaying anything too extravagant, content to take the single, which is all Essex need, really.
Yeah, that's well bowled. I think that off-pace shorter delivery is pretty good. It's not going to be easy to time there. 2 men out. It's a good option.
Yeah, Tawanda BAA, one of those boundary riders. He stayed out. Freddie Classen's now come in extra cover, so the 2 fielders out are both square of the wicket. And that has been thumped by Paul Walter. So we saw 6 in the last over for Michael Pepper. Paul Walter joining the fun. That was a mighty blow from a very big man.
Touchful maybe, but that's a stand and deliver from tall Paul. That's what he does best. He times well, and he's, like you said before, he's strong. He hits a big ball.
Yeah, so the crowd struggling to come to life here. The Spitfires need to give them something, as we see that ball, which is length, isn't it? It wasn't a disastrous delivery. It was kind of middle stump. It was bail height. He just got him. He's got his weight back and swung it away over the leg side. So Dean Forrester into the action earlier than he was on Monday. But, it was his intervention which rather turned the tide, and Sam Billings is hoping he might be able to do something similar. He was on a hat-trick at one stage, took a 3-for 25 from his allotted overs. He was quite brilliant. But he's a batting all-rounder, top scored today. Acquitted himself really well in 1.5 games so far. What can he do with the ball? Crunched by Paul Walter. That was back of a length, and he just stood to his full 6'6" and just swatted it away for 4.
Yeah, a lot of width there for him. Free up the arms pretty easy from there on this deck, so important to keep that straight. I don't think the length was too bad. He's hitting that on middle and off. But any width here is game on.
That's a nice comeback from Forrester.
Shape up the slope there. Like the angle around the wicket, a lot better.
Tickled. Oh, misfield. Parkinson at short 45, and that one snuck through him. A couple more runs to the total for the Eagles. Kent making a pretty decent start to this campaign with good wins over Middlesex at Lords by 27 runs and the Sharks by 7 wickets on Bank Holiday Monday. Next game for them is a tough one to Surrey at the Oval on Sunday. Couple more home matches as a Shire comes in, but Walter always likely with those long strides to get home. A couple of matches in June, a couple of matches in July at home to finish off the campaign. Fewer group games in the Blast this year. Different format, 3 groups of 6 as opposed to the usual 9 North and South. So you play the other 5 teams home and away, and then you play 1 team from outside your group at home and 1 team from outside your group away. 12 games beside the quarter-finalists. So 1 over remains of the power play. Essex not exactly rattling along, but they don't have to. 130 the target. And at the moment they're cruising. 42 without loss. Change of ends from Tom Rogers. He's around the wicket to Walter. Decent bounce of that from Rogers. Paul Walter swings it away to deep mid-wicket. Didn't time it. As the great Darren Stevens pops his head in the commentary box and says hello to Ivan Thomas. Someone needs to produce something Stevens-esque out there at the moment.
Yeah, nicest from Rogers. Tucked him up that first one, then that was a good short ball.
Nicely played by Pepper. A little bit straight from Rogers on this occasion. Just got across to the offside, flicked it off his hip. Couple of bounces and it races away down the hill for 4.
Yeah, not too bad from Rogers. Probably over like middle and leg. It's come across nicely. That's good from Pepper.
Yeah, I think in fairness, it might have been just outside off stump, wasn't it? I think they give the batter some credit there. He's just expecting that back of a length ball, got across and it just helped it round the corner. Touch premeditated, but well executed.
Feels like he's missed out there, but bad ball. Followed him a little bit as he's charged him. Length's probably done him a little bit there.
Yeah, I think he's had a guess. Sometimes as a batter, when you premeditate a bit and you get one away from back of a length, you anticipate the full ball. So he's charging down the wicket. He got another short one. So Rogers keeping Pepper guessing here. Kent badly need a wicket though. 47 without loss. It's too short. That is not Rogers' best, and Nigel Long almost apologetically signals wide. Always enjoy Nigel Long signalling a wide. He looks like he doesn't really want to, because it's like dragging the game out for an extra ball. Like, you're keeping me here for longer by bowling that rubbish. I'm going to have to signal a wide. Out go the arms. Got underneath this one, man back, but I think it's going to clear him, is it? It is. Mayeye tries to flick it back over the rope, but it was always just occurring, always just doing him. So good effort from Tawanda Mayeye. If that rope was a metre further back, it might have been straight down his throat. Good effort from Rogers. Take a second look at it. Yeah, he just mistimed it, didn't he? There was a potential opportunity for catching that, throwing it up. Just got it a little bit wrong. It's a skill they practice.
Yeah, started maybe 5-10 yards in, and looked like he expected to go down his throat. I mean, he still made that little catch look pretty simple, but missed out there.
So Nigel Long once again with the apologetic wide. That 6 brought up the 50 for the Eagles. Now 55 without loss. 1 ball remaining of the power play. Just 130 to win. Just another 75. The required rate is 5.3. That's gone straight up. This is a chance. Can take some catching. Billings is under it. Is he going to get there? Oh, Mayeye. Oh, it's down. Oh, he's hurt himself. Yeah, he's hurt himself. Brilliant effort from Tawanda Mayeye at full stretch. And he's landed heavily there. What a fantastic effort from Mayeye. Full stretch flying in. And I think he's okay. He's,
little concussion test, I imagine.
Yeah, that was just hit his head, I think. And sometimes they can be nasty with the shoulders as well. You jam your arm into the floor, but he's a tough boy to under Mayeye. Just for a horrible moment, I saw Sam Billings bearing down on him as well, and seen that happen before. Thinking of Rory Burns and Moses and Reeks at Arundel. I was on the boundary edge for that, and that was horrendous. Both knocked out, game abandoned a few years back. Sussex, Surrey, but Mayeye, what a valiant effort. Kent desperately needing something to happen. Came flying in. He just hesitated there, maybe caught Billings out of the corner of his eye. And
fine leg. I think fine leg looked like charging round.
Yeah, just spilled out there. And he landed with his face hitting the floor pretty hard. So that will be probably a concussion test, and be best to get him checked out. But so Mayeye getting to his feet, looks a little groggy. Expect it will probably make sense for him to go off here. Just hope he's going to be okay. Run you through what's happened earlier in the game. Gets a decent round of applause there as he's going off the pitch. Just looks okay. I think it was probably the face that smashed into the ground, and it's pretty firm. We've had a dry month or so. He's holding his hand. Just hope he doesn't whack his. No, I think he's okay. Just gingerly holding that right arm, isn't he? Sometimes you can jam it in the floor and crack a wrist or something like that. But yeah, hopefully he's okay. Just to remind you, if you're just joining us, what happened earlier. Kent, the skids was put under their innings pretty quickly. Tawanda Mayeye just making the 1. It hasn't been his best day, has it? We think of Tawanda smashing it to all parts. Brilliant 100 at Taunton, and such a flamboyant opening batter. Wonderful player. But, he made just 1, and now he's off the field. To Belgium 13, Zach Crawley, who was looking to return to his best form the other night with an unbeaten 70. He made just 7. Sam Billings tried to scoop one round the corner. He made 8. Denley hit a big 6 and then got undone by Vian Mulder for 14. DM Forrester top score with 34. But Kent making 129 for 9. Needed early wickets and they haven't got them. Pepper and Walter have had a little bit of luck, but they played pretty well in truth. Here's Matt Parkinson. That is paddled fine round the corner. We settle for the single. Harry Finch is on in place of Tawanda Mayeye. Pretty decent fielder, Harry Finch, considering he's largely a wicket-keeper by trade these days. Got a good arm and he's quick to the ball. Parkinson back of a length, and Finch, no. Masson intercepts. Just maybe an opportunity here for Matt Parkinson just to throw a few up. Kent have got nothing to lose, really. They come in second in this game. Got a pretty big field to work with this pitch being right in the middle. Boundary riders are out. Toss a few up and try and spin it hard. Pepper opting for the paddle, and he might get two this time. He does, he comes back. The harder sweep, and he's found the gap. That's a nice shot from Michael Pepper. A couple of paddles, and then a wholehearted sweep on that occasion. Talked about it earlier, Ivan, didn't we? Tough situation for the spinners to bowl. They ideally want the required rate to be up around 9, 10 and over. It's at 5s.
Yeah, and coming in against, say, two-set batters. Really tricky here.
Yeah, if you compare when Simon Harmer came in, when he entered the fray, wickets had fallen, 30 for 4 at the end of the power play, and then he was straight on. Kent couldn't afford to take any chances against him. That's not the case here. So it's going to be double spin and double wrist spin, not something you see all the time. The Jake Lintop. He bowls it a touch quicker than Parkinson. Left arm angle. Got away with that one, Lintop. Spin on in evidence there as Finch does his first bit of work on the field for the injured Mayeye. Eve into the leg side from Pepper. Got a spot from Lintop. That is hit pretty well from Pepper. Didn't get all of it. It's going to go for 4 though. Zach Crawley tries to reel it in, but always running away down the slope. Quite an inviting gap. And a left arm wrist spinner's turning it into you as a right-handed batter. That wide long on, straight mid-wicket position. So Lintott, who was on the short side in that over, tossed one up invitingly. And Pepper equal to it. So he's 38 off 28. Paul Walter 30 off 20, and the Eagles cruising at the moment. 72 without loss required. Raiders dropped to 4.8 runs per over. Just another 58 to win. And 10 wickets in hand. This is not what the Spitfires would have hoped for, Ivan, when they were warming up earlier this afternoon. 2 wins from 2. Big crowd. Walter cuts. Misfield through for a single.
Yeah, nothing gone Kent way here. Seems to have bowled okay. Lintott bowled a little mixed bag in that over, but yeah, with little pressure on the Essex boys, I feel like they've had an easy ride so far and not necessarily built a lot of pressure here.
"12 group matches, as I mentioned just a moment ago, so we're allowed the odd bad game, and I'll probably put this one down as that. A good side, Kent, in the first 2 games. Reverse, swatted in a misfield, and that's not what you need. Dived over it, Klassen. Nice shot from Pepper, showing his full array of strokes. But Kent, a couple of misfields, half chances, not quite going to hand. Atmosphere feels distinctly flat. 77 without loss, the Eagles. Same shot, this time it beats Klassen. Finch, and that's going to be 4 as well. So just 1 or 2 moans from the crowd, who were treated to wonderful run chase on Bank Holiday Monday. Just need someone to stick a hand up here and do something special. Salvage a little bit of pride from this one. Up and over, 1 bounce. So a couple of reverse sweeps from Pepper prompted a field change. Finch went backward a square on the offside, and that time he just rocked back, thumped it over extra cover, and that is 50 for Michael Pepper. 31 balls, 6 fours, 2 sixes, made it look pretty easy. A bit of work from Joe Denley at deep mid-wicket. Saves a couple.
I really think time in the middle has changed this game a little bit. It's allowed them to free up their arms a little bit, also get the run of the pitch. It's still slow, as you can see there. He's still not hit that very clean. But the bowlers have really had to work to try and change their plans a lot more because they've niggled it around. I think that's made it a lot easier for Essex, is that they've got runs in the bank now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that worked in their favour, and the fact they only need 130 means they didn't have to panic when the going got a bit tough early on. A few dot balls doesn't really matter when you're only chasing a well under par score. And then, like you say, because Kent haven't been able to take wickets, they haven't been able to build a lot of pressure. You get in on a pitch, it gets easier, and they've just grown accustomed to the surface as they've gone on. And Michael Pepper seems to have had a lot more strike in recent overs. He's faced 33 balls to Walter's 21. Both striking at a decent rate. Matt Milne's back into the attack from the Nackington Road. He's probably looked the most likely. None for 19 off 2. Probably doesn't reflect how he's bowled. Nice batting from Pepper. That's the other thing that he started to do a bit better. Run between the wickets. Field is spread. Decent acreage out there, much bigger field than he'd be used to at Chelmsford. Comes back for 2. Just a reminder, if you remember, this fixture last year was the last group game. Kent won convincingly and then had to watch us. Needed Surrey to do us a favour, bouncer, and that could be too short again. Yet Nigel Long outgo the arms. Last group game of the 2025 campaign, Kent had to beat Essex, which they did. And the Sussex-Surrey game at Hove, Kent needed Surrey to beat Sussex, and that game was probably 20 minutes or so behind. So the players and the crowd all stayed around, watched it on the big screen, the feed. It was a nice moment as Kent snuck through. Kent fans wanting Surrey to win. Doesn't happen too often. But it won't be the case on Sunday, because that's the next challenge for the Spitfires. They go to the Oval. Surrey 2 from 2 so far. Maybe another wide. Look at some of the other scores around the traps. Surrey 174 for 8. Southampton, Hampshire in pursuit of 175, 21 without loss. The Bears have lost again. Walter pulls that away. And it's going to get 4. Yeah, so Warwickshire bowled out for 141. And Worcestershire making a bit of a meal of it with just 7 balls to spare. 142 for 4. Yorkshire 151 for 9. Durham 69 for 6 off 11. So Durham struggling. Lancashire 145 for 9. Leicestershire 64 for 2. Coming towards the end of the 9th. Somerset 171 for 9. Glamorgan 117 without loss in response, not even at the halfway stage, so they are smashing it. As is Walter. 2 men out though on that deep square fence. Drummond does the fielding. Derbyshire a whopping 234 for 4 at Derby against Notts. Nottinghamshire at the halfway stage 76 for 3, so they need 159 off 60. Doesn't look like they're going to get those. And Gloucestershire 164 for 9 against Northamptonshire, and they are 103 for 1. The home side chasing that down. So the standout scorecard I just read out to you. Glamorgan 120, 130 without loss at Cardiff. Kieran Carlson, the skipper, opening the batting, 94 not out of 38 balls, 13 fours and 4 sixes, making pretty light work against the defending champions. Meanwhile, back at the Spitfire ground, St Lawrence, the Eagles on the cusp of 100. Not much to shout about, but the sunset's nice, Ivan. Change of ends for Jake Lintott. And it makes little difference with mid on up. Shot always likely to be taken on, and it wouldn't have mattered if he was back, because that went deep into the Frank Woolley stand. Another wonderful shot from Michael Pepper. That's a replay of Paul Walter hitting a boundary. I can assure you, it's been an even better shot just played by that man there. Just a reminder that after this, you've got a little bit of a wait before the next home game. Championship action in between times, but Kent Spitfires against the Notts Outlaws. That's the one team that Kent are playing at home outside of their South Group. Friday, 26th of June. It's a televised game on Sky Sports Cricket, but you can dances down the wicket, Walter, and hits this one pretty hard to long on, and long on is wide. So another boundary. So yeah, tickets available for that one. Tickets.kentcricket.co.uk. You can see pretty impressive Notts Outlaws outfit against the Spitfires. And then after that, it is a double header. Outlaws on the Friday, Hampshire Hawks double header, women and men, on Sunday the 28th of June. Tickets.kentcricket.co.uk for those. We won't be bringing the stream coverage to you for the Friday night game, because that is televised, as I mentioned, but we'll be back for that Sunday match, the doubleheader. We come back from Lintop, hit for a 6 and a 4 and finishes with 3 dots. A little bit quicker into the pitch. Skidding on. This is what's known, Ivan, as a good game to win. 110 without loss. It'll be one of the greatest turnarounds in Blast history. And we were there to commentate on it. To win, required rate 2.2. A disappointing day been made slightly worse. I text my eldest son to see if he wants to go and get his old dad a burger. He said, I'll take you afterwards. This is still a bit of a queue, Dad. Can't even get fed. Rogers given, gone. So, yeah, Michael Pepper, bit of an afterthought from Nigel Long, it appeared, but yeah, just went across, tried to flick Rogers around the corner. Good diving catch from Sam Billings, professional as ever. And Pepper has to go. He's played beautifully for 64, just 40 balls, 6 fours, 3 sixes. Good catch from the skipper. And the turnaround, the comeback is on. Yeah, good game to win. Little leg side, it probably wasn't a leg side strangle. It's a bit harsh on Tom Rogers. I think Pepper went right across here trying to scoop that, flick that. Nice bit of work from Billings. Not too big a celebration, 110 for 1. But Charlie Allison, the new batsman. Nice to come in a T20 game with the best part of 10 overs remaining, with the run rate required at 2.3. Aaron Carlson, incidentally, has gone past 100 for Glamorgan. 103 off 43 balls, 13 fours and 5 sixes. Has he gone again? No. Just wondered if that was a chance. Maybe it didn't carry. Sam Billings was saying no catch, but we could kind of tell that because the ball was about a metre away. Bit of glove, and I think it might have been spilt, having praised Sam Billings for the brilliant one the ball before. A little bit of glove. Yeah, he's looking at his bat. A bit of bottom edge, so good stuff from Tom Rogers, making things happen. That would have been interesting. Rogers working up ahead of steam here, 82.4 miles an hour. Just some evidence that the wicket just skidding on a little bit quicker under the lights. Pulling this time, and it's gone 5 for 4, so maybe a bit of a bottom edge or glove on that earlier delivery, but Allison equal to that one. A couple of looks. 114 for 1, just another 16 for the Eagles. Looking a bit of distress there, Charlie Allison. Just kind of holding his wrist or arm. Yeah, look. Underside of his elbow, maybe that was where the earlier ball struck. Chipped into the leg side, timed very nicely by Allison, getting another boundary. There's been a decent over from Tom Rogers, asking plenty of questions, but a couple of boundaries. Edges Essex a little bit closer. It's 12 to win. Nicely bowled from Lintop. Looked like the wrong one came back down the slope at Walter. Could have easily dragged that one on. Nice bit of work from Zach Crawley. Rearranging the furniture. People leaving the ground now. Set game was up a little while ago. Beat the rush out the ground. Nice looking shot from Charlie Allison. He's played a couple of classy strokes. Like he wants to overhit the ball, just times it. Quite a slight batter compared to the big frame of his partner, Paul Walter. Nice shapes when he drives. Hits the ball pretty hard. Just a reminder that Kent's next game is away at the Oval on Sunday. Next time they're in action here at Canterbury is the televised game against the Outlaws on the 26th. You'll see that on Sky Sports Cricket. We won't be covering that one on the stream, but still tickets available, tickets.kentcricket.co.uk, and we will be back on the 28th for the doubleheader. Women and then men against the Hampshire Hawks on Sunday the 28th. Next game in the T20 though, here at Spitfire Ground, involves the horses. Kent women against Gloucestershire women on Sunday. You can see that one from 2:30. Tickets available in the Women's Vitality Blast. Kent had a great win as that one is swatted away by Allison as Essex close in. It bounced back, having been bowled out cheaply in their previous game to win by 9 wickets last time out. So the women are back on Sunday against Gloucestershire. But the men, well, they'll have to lick their wounds and go again. Such is the nature of the T20 Blast. The games come thick and fast, and perhaps no better place to go to try and bounce back than the Oval. Allison drives to extra cover. There'll be no run. Some cracking matches at the Oval over the years. You think of Joe Denley's hat-trick and 100 in the same match. Didn't get much better than that, so he'll have fond memories, as will many of these Kent players. Surrey, a good side, of course, in all formats. Started with 2 wins from their first 2 matches as well. Pulling, and that could be game, set and match to the Eagles. Charlie Allison getting the short one from Freddie Klassen and swatting it through mid-wicket. Harry Finch can't stop it. And that has been a bit of a walloping at the hands of the Eagles. First 2 games, Kent brilliant. Just never really got going tonight. 129 for 9 was never enough, and Essex, Ivan Thomas made light work, and they put the pitch into some kind of perspective.
Yeah, I think it was a game that was lost in the power play of Kent's innings, losing those wickets early. They bowled well. They bowled really well. I think they showed how to bowl on this pitch. Back of the length, no pace on really as well. I mean, their bowlers aren't necessarily the quickest, but sticking in the pitch, tricky to get away. And I think by that point it was in Essex hands. Sorry about that. Essex hands, and it was going to be tough always for Kent to try and defend that.
Yeah, Kent losing 4 wickets in the power play. Mayeye, Beltrummond. Mayeye 1, Beltrummond 13, Crawley 7, Billings 8. And then Joe Denley made 14 off 19. Dean Forrester, a runnable 34, top scoring. When your top scorer is a runnable 34, it tells its own story. Jake Lintop was a runnable 18. The 2 of them put on a decent partnership. And there was a late flurry from Matt Milnes, but 129 for 9 meant that the Spitfires needed early wickets. They just simply didn't get them, with Paul Walter Just playing anchor role, really. 42 off 30, 6 fours and a 6. Michael Pepper, more explosive, faced more of the strike. He made 64. He was taken by Sam Billings down the leg side of Tom Rogers. Good diving catch by the skipper. And then Charlie Allison showing a little bit of composure and class at the end as he finished unbeaten on 18. 130 for one, the Eagles, as the players shake hands and Kent lick their wounds before they travel to the Oval. You can get all the post-match reaction on BBC Radio Kent. I'd like to extend big thanks to Ivan Thomas, who's been in the wars. You might have been hearing earlier, a horrendous car crash in Panama a few months back, but he's pulled through, and it's great to have him back alongside us at commentary. A friend of Kent, always, of course, former Kent fast bowler. And Ivan, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you again. I'm not sure if you're booked in for this campaign, but we wish you well in your rehab, and thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So there we go. That's Ivan Thomas, who will know what these Kent guys are feeling as the crowd start to make their way out of the gates. It is Essex who take the battle of the bridge on this occasion. They have won here by 9 wickets. Better luck at the Oval on Sunday, and we'll see you next month. Thank you to Cluberly for their continued sponsorship of our enhanced stream. Wasn't to be tonight for the Spitfires. We'll see you at the next one.